feel like it today, but Sochi is Russia's top resort town. And if you're a football fan here, then between matches, you might want to go to the beach. Or you can hang out up here. In the 2014 Winter Olympics, some of the key venues were up in these mountains. For the World Cup, it's just a fantastic place to come for the view. The stadium is at the heart of Sochi's Olympic Park. This was the venue for the opening and the closing ceremonies in the 2014 Winter Games. Now, the roof here has been sliced apart. There's extra seating too, and it's all ready for the football. This is Harry the Otter, and here in Sochi he's got a really good reputation for predicting sports results. In fact, at the Sochi Olympics he had a 75% success rate. So I'm going to ask him about England's chances at the World Cup. Will England win? Yes or no? Ready? Uh-oh, and he's going, straight for the green. It took seconds and he's decided, no doubt about it, England to win.
Well, towering over Volgograd is one of the tallest statues in the world, a World War II memorial twice the height of the Statue of Liberty. This is Mother Russia, determined, defiant, urging her people to rise up and crush the enemy. Now, Volgograd used to be called Stalingrad, and the Battle of Stalingrad, in which nearly 2 million people were killed, still haunts this place. But today, the focus is on football, and from up here there's a wonderful view of the stadium they're building for the World Cup. And here's a closer look at it. Now, I've already mentioned how the war still casts a shadow over this city. When they started building this stadium, they found 300 unexploded bombs here and the remains of 2 soldiers.
Saransk is the least known of all of the World Cup cities, even to Russians. And one way to get there is to take an overnight train like this one. So this is the mystery city of Saransk. Let's see what this place has got to offer. There's the cathedral. It's all very shiny and new, like a lot of things here. And there's a lot of statues here. Well, this alone is worth coming to Saransk for. They've got a bus shelter that's shaped like a light bulb. Now that's because in the Soviet Union, a third of all light bulbs were made here. And this is where the fans will end up, the Mordovia Arena. That's assuming it's ready on time.
Well, forget buses and taxis. This is the way to get around Kazan. It's the capital city of Tatarstan, a mainly Muslim region of central Russia. It's rich in history and culture. It's rich in oil too. Mind you, this little lady doesn't need much petrol. Now, this is the World Cup Stadium in Kazan with its gigantic video screen. It's been designed by the same group of architects who designed Wembley Stadium and the Emirates Stadium in London. And for hungry football fans, there'll be plenty of choice. This, for example, is the Tatarstan version of the good old British pasty. Echpochmak, it's called. That's beef, potatoes and onion. And there it goes into the oven.
There's one thing Rostov has that no other World Cup host city can offer, and that's the Cossacks. Historic warriors and defenders of Russia's frontiers, they could also do all this. The Rostov Arena is on the banks of the River Don. Now, this stadium was designed by the same company that's behind the Emirates Stadium in London, the new Wembley, even the new Spurs ground there. After the World Cup, it's the local Rostov team that'll get access to all that. Rostov has got a brand new airport for the occasion. Here inside, they're just putting the finishing touches to it all. This is the only one of the host cities that's had an airport built from scratch for the World Cup. But there's still plenty of traditions like this to enjoy here.
Well, Yekaterinburg is the easternmost host city in this World Cup. It's a 2-hour flight from Moscow. It's also the place where two continents meet. Here you can put one foot in Asia and the other foot in Europe. Let's hope the snow's gone come kick-off time, otherwise all the teams will get cold feet. And here's the stadium. It was built by German prisoners of war after World War II, and now it's getting a facelift. And to make sure it meets the World Cup minimum capacity requirement of 35,000, they put in temporary stands behind the goals. And if you'd like to know who's going to lift the World Cup trophy, ask my friend over here. Meet Suri, the fortune-telling meerkat in Yekaterinburg Zoo. I'm told he has plenty of experience picking winners. Let's see where he's gone. Oh, England. Well, that's a good sign.
This is the Samara Arena, and it's causing the World Cup organisers a few headaches. The design here was meant to rival Moscow's main stadium in terms of size and grandeur. The organisers say it will be ready in time, but as you can see, there's still a lot of work to do here. This is Larderland, home to the old Soviet car that was once the butt of so many jokes. You don't see many old models like this one on the roads anymore, but Irina's a huge fan. And if you're not interested in cars, then how about this? I'm heading down now to the secret bunker of Joseph Stalin. It's a whole underground world down here, 37 meters beneath the surface. This is the room that was prepared for Stalin himself. The whole bunker was built during World War II, and the idea was that if the German army took Moscow, Stalin could run the country from here. Now, the whole bunker was top secret for decades, and today it's open for tourists.
Well, St. Petersburg is the cultural capital of Russia, a city of Tsarist-era palaces, like this one, now home to the world-famous Hermitage Museum. You know, there are more than 3 million works of art in here. It would take you at least 8 years to see them all. Now, the stadium here has been designed to look like a spaceship, which is quite appropriate, really, because the building costs have been astronomical. There have also been construction delays and problems with the pitch, but the Russians are confident they can fix all of that before the tournament begins. And from football to food, this St. Petersburg bar has developed a special World Cup menu for hungry fans. And here it comes now, presenting the ball burger with French fries in goal. And that's what I call a winner.
In some spots like this, Kaliningrad looks distinctly European, but this is Russian territory. It's a sliver of the former Soviet Union that's now surrounded by the EU. And this is the westernmost point for the World Cup. The good news is it's going to be pretty easy to get to, because Kaliningrad is just a short drive across the border from Poland or from Lithuania, and the ground itself is pretty close to the city centre. If there's one thing the Kaliningrad coast is known for, it's amber. There are vast reserves of the precious stone here by the Baltic Sea, and occasionally after a storm the waves will throw chunks of amber right onto the beaches. It's worth a small fortune, so maybe an extra bonus for some of the football fans, or perhaps a consolation prize.
In communist times, I wouldn't have been allowed into Nizhny Novgorod. This city was closed to foreigners. Not anymore, of course. And for football fans coming here, there's plenty to see. This place has even got its own Kremlin. Well, they're not quite ready for kick-off here. The Nizhny Novgorod football stadium is still under construction. Now, the whole thing has been designed to look a little bit like the Volga River, which is just across the way. And they assure me here that everything will be ready on time. And there'll be entertainment off the pitch too. Here at the Nizhny Novgorod Circus, They're putting together a special series of shows for the World Cup and for visiting fans. Russia may not be the favourites in the football, but they certainly look like champions in the big top. Well, Moscow is a great draw. There's so much to see here. Just on Red Square, you've got psychedelic St. Basil's, you've got the Kremlin, where Vladimir Putin has his office. And over there, there's another Vladimir in that mausoleum where you can see the embalmed body of Vladimir Lenin.
There's still lots of cliches about Russia, most of them involving communism, vodka and the cold. Here in Gorky Park, it is freezing at the moment, but come summer, this place is full of people sunbathing in bikinis, playing beach volleyball and even dancing salsa. And this is the home ground for one of Russia's top teams, Spartak. At least there's no worries about this place being ready on time.
And this is Moscow's Luzhniki Stadium. It's the old Lenin Stadium, which has been given a facelift. Actually, this is where the World Cup final is going to take place.
Of course, there's been a lot of tension recently between Russia and the West. Allegations of hacking and meddling in elections, even talk of a new Cold War.
And that's why this tournament has become so important to Russia. Whoever ends up winning here, Russia's goal is to try to present a friendlier face to the world.